Hey, welcome back to Veteran. I'm your host, Jonathan Richardson. This morning, before I introduce my guest, let me go ahead and remind you, if you've not watched the pilot episode, that way you understand what this channel is about, please go back and watch that. It's a quick 8.5 minute video. That way you understand what we're going to be talking about today. So now that they're gone and they've gone back to watch that pilot episode, my guest this morning is Max McGuire. He is a Navy veteran. You've got the Marine Corps, and then you've got the Navy. We're a department of the Navy. We're the men's department of the Navy, but I'm not going to throw that joke in here. We're just going to leave it out. So make sure you edit this out whenever you edit my videos. But anyway, Max is the CEO of Spiritual Lift, which is his clothing brand, and then he's also a YouTuber himself, and then he's just a very successful businessman all over. I've known you for what, 2 years now?
Almost
2 years.
Yeah,
man. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to hand it over to Max. He's going to talk about his RAN, his RAN, his military service, and then we'll go from there.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Hey, Good afternoon. My name is Max McGuire. I'm actually a local here of Carrollton, Georgia, and I joined the military back in the 2020. I was in the Navy, went in, served 4 years. I was an aviation mechanic. I worked on fighter jet engines, did one deployment, and decided, you know what, it's time for me to move on, do better things, and get out of the military. I didn't have kids going into the military, but when I came out and was starting to venture my way to getting out of the military, I had a kid, and I decided, you know what, this lifestyle isn't for me, because military was a lot of travel, was a lot of deployments, workups. There's a lot of time spent away from your family, and of course, me and my wife endured that one deployment that I went on, and I said, you know what, no more. I'm not doing that again. It was a great experience. It was a great time to really find myself and really explore the world. But outside of that, I decided, you know what, it's my time to. It's really time to get out and move on. So I got out in 2024, and I started working a 9-to-5 job, and then I started going to school here recently. I went back to school this past August. This is my first semester, coming up on the closing end of my first semester, which was great, man. It's been a great first semester. I decided not to go to school right out of high school. I decided not to go to college right out of high school because, I didn't feel that I was mature enough to go to college. But little did I know that was the most mature decision that I made, was, to not go to school yet, let myself develop a little bit more, then go back to school with a purpose. Go back to school with, okay, I know what I want to do. I know what I want to further study. Now let's go back and really dive deep into this thing and see how I can apply it, instead of going in one ear out the other. I know where to apply the knowledge that I'm learning. And two, the military is going to pay for it. I wasn't in long enough for me to pass this stuff on to my kids or my wife. I was not able to use any of that military benefit to pass on. So I said, I need to use it. If not, it's going to go to waste. So I decided, you know what, it's time for me to go to school and really learn as much as I can, man. And I've loved it so far. It's been really cool. So right now I'm going full time to school, doing the business owner thing, growing Spiritual Lift, doing a little bit of, social media myself, a little bit of YouTube, a little bit of Instagram, Facebook, all that kind of good stuff. But just really been focusing on school right now, man, and school and my family. So that's been pretty important to me.
Very cool.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
If you did not catch that, he goes to University of West Georgia out here in Carrollton. He is a business major. If you're in the Carrollton area, you know exactly what that's like over there at the Roy Richards College for Business. I don't know if you also didn't catch it. He said he went into the military in 2020. So the first thing I want you to talk about, so what originally led you to join the Navy, and what was the biggest challenge being active duty during the global pandemic?
Man, that's a great question. I had no idea that I was going into the military. If you would have asked me in high school, was I going into the military, I would have looked at you with a crazy face. I'd have been like, man, you're wild. No, I'm not going to the military. Never doing that. Okay. And when I got out, I worked a job for years, but a couple of years, I didn't have a background. I had no concrete foundation, with no school, nothing really to fall. I mean, I had a 9-to-5 job. I had work experience, but I didn't have that, like, read my resume and go, wow, okay, he's got something on there. Yeah. I didn't have that. In the one way that I knew that I could get that was going into the military. So I decided, just, I felt called. I felt like, not only did I need a background, but also I felt called. God was calling me into the military. I felt very strongly that this was something he needed me to do. A lot of times when, we feel called to do something, it's not an idea that we ever thought we would do in the first place. But it comes out of nowhere and it really just kind of shocks you. You're like, oh, well, now why all of a sudden do I want to go and do something, crazy that I never thought I would do before? So that was definitely a calling of mine. And yes, I did go in during the middle of COVID. It was actually February, beginning of February. And if you remember, February was kind of still on the, I don't really know what COVID is. It's really affecting a lot of people. Because me, I had no idea really what COVID was during that time. I knew it was a big thing. But when I went in, I wasn't thinking it was going to shut down the entire globe. I didn't know that it was going to be as big as it was. But man, about March, April timeframe, when I was about 5, 6 weeks into boot camp, man, they came in and were like, "Hey guys, boot camp is off. The act has been dropped. Everything is shut down." And my first thought was like, apocalypse. This is like, this is insane, man.
There's some zombies walking outside.
I'm telling you, man, they came in with hazmat suits on. So it was like something out of a movie. Like it was wild. I mean, we were wearing our t-shirts on our faces with our bootstraps tied around our ears, man. This was like nothing we had ever seen before. But not only that, nobody had seen it. So not only did we have no idea what to look, we didn't know how to look anything up because we couldn't. There was no access to internet in boot camp. I mean, you're in complete isolation. You can't just call somebody and say, "Hey man, what's going on?" No, It is complete isolation. The only source of information you're getting is from your RDCs or drill instructors or the people that are in charge of you. That's the only information you're getting. And those guys are like, "I have no idea what's going on." So we were like, okay, this is great. What do I do? Yeah. And that's actually when I had a really good experience with, I saw a lot of people running to God during that time because they didn't know where else to run. They had nowhere else to run. I mean, that was like, there was the only place they could look was in the Bible, man. So I really got to experience something that I had never seen before, but it really kind of forced people into, running to God, man. And that was very interesting to see, including me. Like I didn't have anywhere else to run. Like I had nowhere to go but to say, God, what is going on? Like, how am I going to get through this? Yeah. So it was interesting.
Yeah. For those of you out there that obviously you were not in the military during the pandemic or have never been in the military, I've heard countless stories like this where they were shut in hotel rooms by themselves and all they saw was whoever delivered their chow every day. I couldn't have done it. I got out, thankfully, right before all that went down, so did not have to deal with that. But appreciate your service and, appreciate you being able to pull yourself through that kind of a situation. Well. But if you can't see his shirt right here, like I said, he is the owner of Spiritual Lifts. And he's also a published author. I brought this today. He didn't know I was going to have it, but he's also a published author. So this is his book, Faith Focused Fitness, the first 90. I believe you're trying to rewrite it, correct?
Well, what I'm doing is actually adding to it. So I've got Faith Focused Fitness, the first 90 is a 90-day challenge. Basically, if you are familiar with 75 hard, or if you are familiar with any extended period challenge that kind of pushes you to your limits and really has you set on this set schedule of daily things that you have to do or daily tasks, that's what this is. But this includes your faith into it. So this really kind of talks about, okay, let's read a daily devotional every day. Let's do a meal plan. Let's work out every day. Let's get outside and be active. Let's do these checklist type of things. But I see it as more of like a faith walk and a 90-day challenge to really take you to another level of, okay, I need a reboot. I need a restart. Even me, sometimes I feel that I need a restart. I need kind of that, like, all right, I've been in a routine for a while. Let's get that reboot, restart, refresh everything. So that's kind of what that is. And right now, what I'm doing is actually writing the daily devotional that goes with it. So not only do you have your task list and it's got a daily devotional check mark on there that you have to do, I'm writing the daily devotional that goes with it. And also I'm going to throw in a workout every day. So you just follow that. You follow these guidelines and the book that I'm actually going to be coming out with here in the very near future. And you've got a 90-day challenge for you. I mean, it's a really cool experience to do and a really good reboot.
Perfect. Well, I'll be sure and drop the link to this book in the description down below. This will be my first time doing that, so if it's not there, just put a comment and I'll send it to you directly. So going off of this and your spiritual lift brand, what message or energy do you want people to? I'm sorry, to feel. Wow, I can't even read my own handwriting. What message or energy do you want people to feel when they wear your brand or when they see it?
Right.
Yeah.
So when people see the logo, I don't want them to see me or the brand. I want them to see the message that it holds, which is the message of Jesus Christ, the gospel, the reason the cross is what it is because he died on it. Man, when I first started this brand, it was given to me. I felt that he had called me and led me to, really start this brand. And over the years, as the business has kind of developed, I really now am focusing on like the message behind what this is. And it's the gospel. Like it's the picking up my cross daily. It's the wearing the kingdom of God on my chest, saying, you know what, I represent this. Not only does that hold me accountable, but also it's the people that I'm surrounding myself with. They kind of are like, okay, I'm constantly seeing him wear that. Like I'm constantly seeing the cross, and it's a reminder to people. I think the gym is one of those places that your brain can be all over the place, right? Whether it be on girls, whether it be on yourself, whether it be on fighting those inner, what they call the inner demons, or whatever you want to say. This is something that I wear to the gym as a constant reminder of the light. It's a constant reminder of why you should be doing this. Like it's to better yourself so that you can be a great representative here on earth. And for those that are called, the calling of God. And he says, you know what? I'm asking you to be different. I'm asking you to stand out a little bit, right? I'm asking you to be kind of that beacon of light in places where it might be dark. And honestly, to me, that's so important because that's the mission,
Yeah.
right? That's what we're here to do. Is we're here to be a light on this earth, and it's not me. Like I said, I don't want, when you see this logo, I don't want you to see me. I don't want you to see the business. I want you to see the message of Jesus Christ and what he came on this earth to do. And basically, this is me saying, hey, I'm willing to represent that.
Very good. I like that. That's very deep. And I know, and I've heard this story probably about 3 times now, but Max has a story, and I don't know if we necessarily have enough time for the whole thing, but it's a leap of faith story.
Yeah.
What do you call that when you're in the middle of the ocean, you jump off the side? You call it swim day, or
Yeah,
what do you call that?
a swim call. So,
Swim call.
yeah.
And apparently you were in line with some senior who was like a mentor to you, and this man apparently didn't even know how to swim and didn't tell them until they were right about the jump. And so it's a really great story. And if you know Max and you've never heard that story, if you see him in person, just have him tell you the story. It's a great story.
Yeah, man.
And I know that was a big part of your like spiritual journey, was like starting right there, taking that leap of faith. So that's actually my next question is like, how has spirituality shaped your journey since leaving the Navy? And I'm guessing that swim qual with that leap of faith that your senior, your mentor took, like how has it shaped since then?
Yeah, man, it's very influential. And when getting out of the military, there's a lot of guarantees that are no longer, right? And what I mean by that is you're no longer guaranteed insurance, paychecks. Well, right now we're coming out of the government shutdown. A lot of veterans and active duty, man, they're really experiencing that government shutdown. But on normal occasion and normal circumstances, you're guaranteed a paycheck. There's a lot of guarantees. When you get out, there's not. Right? There's not a lot of guarantees. There's not a lot of things that are, it's set in stone. You have to go out and you have to kind of find those things, but you also kind of have to trust to know that God's got your back in all of it, man. And honestly, getting out of the military, it is a jump. It's one of those things that a lot of people I've just heard from, having friends in the military, they stay in just because of the transition out of the military being so difficult, especially with families and kids. There's a lot of things that play into getting out of the military: the job factor, the house, the insurance, just the transition of, do you want to go to a different part of the country or wherever you want to go? There's a lot of factors that play into it. And it is a big leap of faith to get out of the military. They say that's one of the hardest things to do, is to transition out of the military and go into the civilian sector. But I of course leaned a lot on God's will for my life and a lot of trusting him to really lead me out. And here I am, coming up on 2 years in February, I've been out. And man, he is just continuing to shape and form my life outside of the military. But the experiences and the real transformation that I had in the military with him kind of made me who I am today.
Okay, good. And I appreciate you bringing that specific part up about how a lot of people stay in because they feel like they will not be able to transition out. And that's exactly what this channel is for you. The ones out there that are like, hey, do I stay in or do I get out? There is opportunity outside of the military. I'm not here saying, hey, you should get out. You know, the military is a great career path. But for those of you who are on the fence and you're like, hey, I just don't want to get out because I don't have opportunity. I'd rather stay in because it's easy. There's a guaranteed paycheck. There's a guaranteed housing stipend. There's guaranteed, childcare, insurance, all that stuff. You can find that on the outside. You just like we talked about in our previous episode, you just need to make sure you stick with your friends and your family. Find good friends, find good family, find other good veterans that are out there that can help you be successful. So I appreciate you bringing that part up as well. And kind of like our last question, and you can dive as deep into this one as you want, but what legacy do you want to leave as Max McGuire? So not as a veteran, not as a brand owner, not as a published author, not as a businessman, but you personally, as a man, what kind of legacy are you wanting to leave behind?
Man, that's a great question. Here recently, I have been really kind of finding this new introduction of who I am, right? When people ask me, "Hey, how are you? What's your name?" I say, "I'm Max McGuire and I'm a man of God," right? I am a man of service. I am a man that God has called. And when you ask the question, what legacy do I want to leave behind? It's one of service, man. It's one that was, when people think about me, I don't want them to see the things that I did, but just the message that, like, just like with this brand, the message of what I spread of like, hey man, I'm here to serve and to help people and to really kind of, spread the message, the same thing that Jesus did, man. Just share the gospel, share that, there's a lot more out there to this life than just the materialistic things, right? There's so many good things out there that you can dive into, like one of those being purpose. Like, you can find your purpose in God if you trust him, right? And if you really say, you know what, I think there's more to this life than just, the materialistic things or the getting famous, the getting rich, the success. And really that's depending on what your definition of success is, right? Because there's a lot of people that are all those things, right? They've got the money, they've got the materialistic things, they've got all of these things, but they're still not successful, right? They're still not fulfilled. And I really find that in Jesus, man, and really putting all my faith in God, saying, you know what, whatever you call success, I'm going to go to. And that may not be what I think is success. That may not even be what I understand, or may not even be what I think now. But I would like to live, when people think about me, I want them to think about the message and just positive, man. One of the best ways that I can share the gospel is just how positive and how upbeat and smiling all the time and making people feel like so empowered and so like just energized whenever they get out of a conversation with me, because they're like, man, something is living inside of that guy that I want to know more about, right? And then that's when I'm able to share the gospel with them. And it's like, man, I'm blessed. There's a God that loves me so much, and he also loves you, right? And when I think about legacy, man, of course my kids come into mind too. I'm here to pass on the knowledge and the wisdom that I have to them, and that's a part of the reason that I am going to college, and I did do the military, and I didn't know it at the time, but that's another part of why I went into the military and worked a full-time job, is so that no matter what direction my kids want to go, I have experience in all of those things. They want to go get a job. I know I've been there. They want to go into the military. I've been there. They want to go to school. I've been there. All of these things are really kind of in line with what I want to leave behind for my kids. And a lot of times businessmen, especially, our big chase is to we want to create all these materialistic things to leave behind for our families. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard this, and this is a huge message that I really hope this resonates with somebody. But no matter how many materialistic things you gather for your family to leave behind, nothing is ever going to amount to the presence of you just being there, right? And you being present. When my kids look back at their childhood, I want them to say, Dad was just there. Like, he was there, he was able to provide, and he really showed us things and took us to experience things that we really, it's not materialistic, because they always, the thing is always, they're not going to remember what they got at Christmas. They'll remember the trips and the camping
Those
trips
core memories
and the
or something.
core memories, right? So it's really not about the materialistic things for me now. It's more about what kind of experience in life and things can I teach my kids, and just teach just really kind of just be that influence to anybody and everybody out there who is, interested in more in this life than just materialistic things or success, because honestly success has been so twisted these days in what it truly is, because your success might be different from my success and your success might be different from the other person's success.
Yep.
Everybody's success is different, but when I'm chasing your success, right, then it turns into something that I have no business being in.
Yep.
Because honestly I'm going way far right field of what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yep.
And so honestly when I truly want people to remember me, it's like, man, that was a man of service. He was a man that was just always happy, always sharing how blessed he was and how blessed his family is and how just, excited he was and how happy. And because he found that in Jesus, man, he found that in his faith. He found that in the experiences that he had in this life, man. So that's kind of what I would like to be remembered for, is just being a man that was of service.
That's good. That is a fantastic legacy to want to leave behind, especially for your kids.
Yeah,
that's exactly, obviously, for those of you who know, I don't get to see my kid as often as I would like. But when he's here, I do like to be that present parent. I do like to make sure that he knows that, hey, Dad's not about that materialistic. Dad's about making memories with me every time he comes. Man. That's what we do. I did forget, if you can't tell, Max is also a bodybuilder. And I promise not everybody that comes on this channel will be a bodybuilder. But he's also part of something in Carrollton, or in West Georgia at least, called God's Warriors. And they go to high schools and elementary schools and they perform feats of strength. You've broken bats and bent pans and ripped telephone books, all sorts of stuff. So that's really another cool thing that I've gotten to see him do here in West Georgia. So Max just does it all. But if you could narrow it down to one word, just one word, for your success, what would that one word be? Like, over the past, you're 25? 25. In the 25 years that you've been on Earth, if you could define success in one word, what would it be? Something that, potential new veterans, current veterans, civilians, anybody that's watching this might be able to be like, that's my new word for success. What would it be?
So the question is, if I could narrow it down to one word of what success would be, or what I would really say, it would be service.
Okay.
Service, man.
Service to others.
Service. Yeah. Like I just mentioned a few, like service, man. Be of service. Be remembered for service. And that's, we are serving in our military. We are serving here in the community. We are serving wherever we go. So if there's a word that I could really sum this down to, it would be service.
That's a great word. And I know you mentioned this earlier about, being joyful and cheerful and all that stuff. And I've known Max, like I said, for almost 2 years now. And he is that man. Every time he's in the gym, I actually have to walk away now because he just loves to talk so much. But I know you've got another funny story where your job basically told you that you were too cheerful, something like that. It's another great story. So if you know Max and you've never heard that story, come find him sometime, not at the gym, and just reach out and be like, hey, I want to hear that story, because he's got a lot of great stories, and I wish we had more time. But like I did in the last episode, I would like to present Max with a veteran T-shirt of his own. For coming on this channel today. And if you learned something today from Max, hopefully the one thing you learned was service.
Yeah.
That's what I try to do on each episode, is come up with one thing for you to pull. And that's why I harped on that at the end, was like, that's that word that hopefully you can go look up the definition, look up multiple definitions. I'm sure service has many definitions as to what you can, or how you can apply that word to your life. So if you learned something today, comment what you learned today. Once again, tag veterans that might like this channel, tag civilians that might like this channel, tag active duty members that might like this channel, especially ones that might be on the fence about getting out or staying in. We'd love to have them, watch this and learn from it. But yeah, like, subscribe, hit the follow button. I'm trying to do YouTube things. I'm still new to this. So once again, Veteran, we're a purpose in motion. We are here not only talking about, yes, Max's Navy service or his time in service, but we're actually talking about everything that he's done since then and everything that he's doing now. And I know we really didn't push too much about your future ideas, but if you're watching, you can tell this man's going places. He's got a very successful future ahead of him, and I love that. So you know what we do? We run. Cool.
I like that, dude. That was